Meep, thank you for 28 months. Nedry, thank you for 73 months. Not Your Nerd Girl, thank you for 16 months. Nate, thank you for 40 months. Very much appreciate it, everybody. Yes, I am the Lord.
Yeah.
Kaylee, thank you for 34 months. I'm doing okay. Yes, I am the Lord.
It's Monday. Is that good?
Pandora, thank you for 36 months. I don't know. I don't know if it's good or bad or what. Yes, I am the Lord.
It can be.
Ironus, thank you for 45 months. So I think I fixed my mic problem. Well, I finally sat down and just decided to, troubleshoot it the old-fashioned way. Start at the source and walk it back. And I should have realized this. Once I figured it out, it was like, oh, well, duh. No, it wasn't a loose cable. My process was I listened to the microphone and I unplugged the microphone, and then I figured I'll try different cables. And it was a bad cable. And I didn't think about that, but it is obvious in hindsight that we moved my stuff around, and it's really not that funny, but it's not like I tried everything else. This is just the first thing I tried, so actually it's lucky. We moved stuff around, and I forgot that we had switched out the cable for a longer one because the reach from the mixer to the stream PC was too short or too far for the cable that I had originally been using. So I actually have a like most of the other cables I had were too short, so I have one of those bricks on it, which I'm kind of using as an extension. So it's going from the mixer to a noise suppression brick to Stream PC. Well, I suspected the HDMI cable because I didn't remember that I had switched this cable. I was thinking nothing else had changed, so I went immediately back to the most recent thing that I remembered had changed. But didn't even think about the fact that we moved my stuff around. There you go. I have shit brain. So back to the slowest colony. Yeah, I don't know. Do I sound fine? I didn't test a whole lot because I was already late. Yeah, my AC is running. I don't know if the AC
Yes,
season is
I
going to
am the
end this
Lord.
year, but
Hey Dad, it's me your boy. Glad to hear you fixed your cable. Speaking of cable, can I have some money? My cable bill is due. Thanks. Love you. Your loser boy.
Wolf Harrington, thank you for 56 months. I feel like the narrative has regressed somewhat. Pretty sure you had like a whole family thing going on. Not sure you'd be at the age of asking for money for cable bills. Of course, I'd be dead, so I guess the narrative needs to have some flex. Gift? They gave us a gift? Ah. Nice. Ah, congratulations. That's awesome. A steel breach axe. Not bad. I consider this home. Did I claim things over here? Or is it because I uninstalled tables? Yeah, yeah. Seems like anywhere you do stuff like that. Game thinks it's his home now. Cougar is gonna eat us soon.
Yes, I am the Lord.
Here for my monthly vibe in my busy life.
Speared Mango, thank you for vibing with us for 44 months. Wow, the new, like, super-powered Chonkabon. I don't think we have anybody who's got the capability, unfortunately. 5, 4, 3, 2, and... Oh! That would have been amazing. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, level 8. Yeah, I had a kind of a difficult situation today, work-wise. Not too bad, but There's a particular project that's sort of like down to the wire.
Oh no, your slug tube's in my sock
Things are
box.
just not cooperating with me. Roll. Thank you for the raid. Welcome, friends. When's that Stream Deck come out? You guys have been talking about it like it's about to come out. Ay, ay, ay. It's getting too close for comfort for my tastes. Alright. Completely unsuccessful hunting. Great job, everybody. I have to check. Okay, this has the potential to not go great. Close is too close. Ah, they all went to sleep just now. Perfect. Hmm. I feel like it would just kill our colony. I feel like that's what would happen. Thievery, huh? Cougar is not a man. Yeah, I don't like the cougar hanging around. What the?
Y'all ready for
bits?
Well, he's not dying. He has a spine injury, which is bad. Hey, Lindley, take it to those biddies. Leave him there. Why? It took too long to answer. Interesting. You're being rescued. Stop resisting. I have to bandage around the old spine.
Yes, I am the Lord.
63 months. Yay.
Bye, Wild. Thank you for 63 months. I saw the banana jam. Good. This is bad. Zero. Get us, you little fucker. There we go. There we go. Come on. Oh, okay, well. Put out the fire. Out the fire closest to the house. They'll get it. Probably. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. They're getting it. Oh, they're getting it. Scary. Oh, we don't care about that one, eh? I think we should care about that one and just get that taken care of. You know? They'll notice in a second. I love when they socialize while they're fighting fires. Like, they're like, fancy seeing you here. Putting out fires again. Who would have thought? Hmm. Oh, now there's a lynx hanging around. Well, there's other animals, so we'll just let it be. Maybe it'll hunt that turkey. Now the lynx probably requires 8 as well. Yerp. I don't know what to talk about. My life lately has been new job and catching up with Adventure Time so I could finally watch Distant Lands. But I don't know how many people give a shit about Adventure Time at this point. I don't think there's any wargs. But I'm not exactly keeping track of every single animal. No. The cartoon indeed. Oh my god. Are you serious right now? A mad fucking turkey? Dude. I gotta wake everybody up for this? You're going down, turkey. You've got no fighting power. Neither do we. Holy crap. Okay, we've done it. Well, since I've just gone on the full journey in like a short span of time, I can say that I feel like it's a show that gets better over time. I actually quit it back in the day because I didn't feel like it actually did, but it actually gets just better and better. I actually super enjoyed the miniseries stuff they were doing. I don't know, it's weird. It felt like it almost had finally just found its stride, which is, I guess, weird to say because it ran for fucking, God, almost a decade? Was it a full decade? Might have been. Yeah, I think 2007 to 2017. I wasn't really prepared for Together Again, the Distant Lands episode 3. It was really, really good, but I came away from that with a really weird, deep sadness. Don't really quite know why. Yeah, yeah, something that I felt like it got really good at was playing with expectations and extracting a lot of emotion out of things that you wouldn't expect it to. Because it presents itself so frivolously. So I think it kind of, you let your guard down for it, and they stick a knife in you. There's a lot of sad in that show. A lot of sad. It seems like they're really dedicated to trying to keep it alive. So I don't know if it's over. So don't take this to mean that it was the end or anything. This isn't a spoiler. I'm just talking about how I feel, but it feels like sometimes when you really go on a journey with some characters and their thing ends, it kind of feels like no matter how it ends, it sort of feels like they died. And I also think a lot about the people who were creating that thing, whatever it was. Because, like in the case of Adventure Time, many of the people involved were there for the entire time. They spent a decade creating, or longer, creating something. And for it to end, gotta be really rough. But on the other hand, maybe maybe a lot of them were tired of it. I don't know. It's weird. Oh yeah, yeah. I've had that with books as well. particularly your first go around with the book, I think that's the time that it feels the most visceral if you're invested in it, you know, and you're really feeling that sense of adventure and kind of almost being there amongst the characters. When it ends, I don't know. I've gotten a lot of satisfaction out of books like that, but I also have felt this sort of lingering sadness or loss or emptiness. Easy to teeter over into existential territory where you start thinking like, well, it's not like any of these characters ever existed in the first place. Like, this is just someone's imaginings. So why do I care so much? Oh no, Niche. That's terrible advice for Adventure Time. Terrible, terrible advice. The, with the, getting down to the end of Adventure Time, there was a lot of, I see what you did there type of stuff. And there's particularly something where there's a particular character. I don't know how to explain it without kind of... It's not like a massive giveaway, I guess. If you're not familiar with the show, there's a lot of... How would you even describe it? Kind of... Folksy's not the right word. What would you call the kind of music? It's like... There's a lot of songs in Adventure Time, and they have this rustic quality to them, or like... It sounds like a friend noodling around, as opposed to a studio-produced big production. Folksy. Well, acoustic is I don't know if that's necessarily the right description, but nevertheless, there's a particular person who created a lot of that music throughout the show. And I think she did other things. I don't think that was her only job, but yeah. I'm not 100% sure on this, because I don't really go online looking for theories or explanations for every little thing. But I feel like they put her in the show near the end as a character called... was it just called Music Hole? And the reason I bring her up is because, if that is her, that character had some really bittersweet, happy, sad things to say. And the end of the show also involves that character. Very, very lightly. It's not like the end of the show revolves around her, but probably the most emotional, one of the most emotional parts of the ending. Yeah. I'm reminded of stuff like famously David Tennant's departure from Doctor Who, for example. Where like that moment when he says I don't want to go almost pretty much feels like it's simultaneously being said by the doctor and the actor. Not sure if he ever confirmed that that was the case. I think so. I think it was a little bit of... I mean, his ending, his departure, a whole lot of people departed. And so Doctor Who lore got bent a little bit, and Tennant had a really long departure. It was really drawn out. But I think as somebody who was a fan of the way that he played the character, it was really satisfying at the same time. I didn't really mind that it was bending the rules a lot. And I think it was worthwhile for having that sort of strange emotional connection at the end. Purple Sardine is visiting us. Oh, I guess Denny left. I didn't notice. I didn't notice Denny walking away. Oh, God. Man. I don't think we're in a position to take on refugees right now. We don't have anywhere for them to stay. I did just dig out this room over here, but I don't want to deal with that shit yet. I have plans here that I want to try to see through. Yeah. Nakomi and I were really into it through... What's his name? Eccleston? To Tennant, to Smith. But we kind of started to lose the thread towards the end of Smith. I think Matt Smith was a really good doctor. Yeah, I think Eccleston, Tennant, and Smith were all really great. Then after that, the show starts to, like, towards the end of Matt Smith's tenure, the show starts to slowly, deliberately insert its head into its own ass in a way that I just was not there for. I didn't... Peter Capaldi, nothing against him, but I cannot tell you one memorable moment from his entire run. Other than... The most I could tell you is, wow, this doctor is an asshole. I don't like this doctor. Why is he such an asshole? And that's it. He was just basically an asshole, and I remember shit being, like, really fucking confusing and boring. Like, what was that fucking thing where he was in, like, a mind labyrinth or whatever for forever? It was the fucking most boring shit in the goddamn world. I felt like they were just here to waste my fucking time. It was awful. And the stupid shit with the fucking dollar. Just... What a terrible show. It was bad. God, it was bad. Yeah, I can't think of one redeemable thing from Capaldi's run. Which sucks, because I think Capaldi could have been really fucking great. But, you know, there's a lot of people out there that love Misery, and I know a lot of people got a lot out of the really terrible seasons there, so... Thumbs up! Enjoy! Well, we have a lot of grown rice, but we will have to hunt again to fill in the blanks here. I thought that I thought maybe the show would recover with Whitaker, but I tried, man. It felt like it was trying too hard. And oftentimes it was more cringy, I think, than at any point that I had watched in the past. I don't know. It didn't catch the vibe. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do is have them harvest. Although I think they were just stopped up by task overload there for a little bit because I had them tear this shit down. I have everybody on like the same priorities for everything, which is not great, but we just don't have very many people. Hey, baby. Nothing. So, hmm. Have a good one, Mango. I never got into the old Doctor Who stuff. I don't think I could. I've very rarely have I been able to get into things that are older than like the 1980s. I don't know why. Now I know that there's some Doctor Who that went on into the 80s, and was it the 90s when it had its like long dry spell? I think so. Wonder how Foundation's gonna be. The links wandered off. There's a lot of animals on the map, so we're not really in danger from it right now. Yeah, it's over here. Hanging around the guinea pigs. These guinea pigs are in danger. I don't know what I just did. I don't know. I held down spacebar. That would happen. That's what happened. I liked Loki. Loki was good. That's something I watched recently. I'll try it. Oops. That's not the thing. They do get really mad when their place of living is dirty, which is a huge detriment to things in general, getting things done. I was also surprised at how much I ended up liking Invincible, considering how much I hated the beginning. Hated it. Had to force myself to continue on. Well, what I didn't like about the beginning was that it was bad. The whole way that the show presented itself just made me feel like this seems really stupid. And I don't know if that's just invisible to people who are already familiar with what the content was going to be or what, but it just seemed like it was going to be bad. Like, the initial bit was sort of like, okay, this is mindless stuff with a bunch of characters that I don't give a shit about. Kind of felt like knockoff Avengers or something. And then we got to the characters talking. And holy fuck. Ay, ay, ay. I hated the dialogue in the first episode between the kids at school and the fucking main character and his weird parents, and just truly awful. And I bailed. I didn't even finish the first episode in my first attempt. I was like, yeah, this ain't for me. But I went back to it with the intention of I'm going to go ahead and just suffer through. And I don't think I was actually into it till probably around halfway. Wherever the thing happens, I mean, those of you who watched it know what I'm talking about. There's a particular point where if you weren't on board, there's essentially one last chance. If they didn't get you on board with that shit, then you're not on board. That seems like a terrible idea, Nate. I don't know why anybody would ever do that. Woof. Can't even do this one. Well, I mean, look, we don't know. We don't know that that's what they actually meant to do. I think Nate was just hypothesizing. Abby. Oh, I'm sort of in a state of malaise. You have fluffy hair. Fluffy, fluffy, fluffy hair. Okie dokie. Well, the other thing is that it's an adaptation. So I think there's always difficulty in translating from one media to another and finding the right pace because they had to take the whole story or the portion that they were telling and cram it into 8 episodes or whatever it was. I think it was 8. Is there more, or did it tell? Because I don't think that was like a long running series or anything. It was kind of a one off, wasn't it? If I recall correctly. Hmm. Speaking of greenlit things, back to Adventure Time. I think that there's a new show coming, but I don't know the details. I haven't heard anything further about Distant Lands. The way HBO has it arranged is like a 4-episode season. I don't know if they intend to have other seasons. That doesn't really mean anything, because even things that are intended to only be one season, they still call it Season 1. that's meaningless. I've heard that I think they're gonna do like a Fiona and Cake show. Something like that. Yeah, Invincible's long over. I don't remember when it was made. I think it was... I recall it being older than I expected. It's like... mid-2000s, I think, or something like that. Somewhere around there. Also, am I mixing this up, or is this the same... Was it by the same dude that was behind The Walking Dead? Dude is prolific as fuck. Crazy. It's very, very good, Manry. Really quite extremely good. The order of them is weird, because one episode in particular seems to me like it should have been the last episode. In fact, I think it was advertised as the last episode. So that's a bit odd. They're all out now, though. I don't know if you prefer watching them in release order, but I would almost recommend swapping 3 and 4. Whoa, are you talking about Invincible, Torn? No, you must be talking about Walking Dead, because I don't think Invincible even has 45 issues, does it? It does? I thought it was... I don't know what I'm thinking of, then. I don't know. I must have looked at the wrong thing or something at some point, or thinking of something else. No, I know you're talking about the comics, but I, for some reason, had the impression the comics were like a short series of visual novels, not a long-running comic format, but clearly I'm mistaken. I haven't got into What If, and I'm not sure how invested I am in Marvel stuff going forward. Like, I've had a taste of the new wave of stuff, but man, I don't know how they're gonna keep it going. It's hard to match the amazing original run of the MCU because they just built this thing where it was, I don't know, you were there for everything about it. You were there for the actors, you were there for that vibe that they all had. I mean, they weren't all of them perfect or anything like that, but there was just something about the way that they fit it all together. And by the time you got to Endgame, like if you were on that ride, Endgame was a truly unique experience that I don't imagine I'll have again for a long time. It was really crazy, just the culmination of everything coming together in one spot. Really, really hard to compare, honestly, to anything. I can't think of anything similar. And they have to basically kind of rebuild that, I guess, if they're going to try to keep it going. Like, they got to kind of start over, especially since that was the end for a lot of the actors. And the stuff that's come out so far is sort of... Loki was really good. I liked Loki a lot. WandaVision was okay. It kind of felt like it just overstayed its welcome for me. Like, after the initial cool concept was obvious, it started to lose my interest. It's just started to feel like, yeah, okay, I get it, I get it, I get it. And then it didn't really resolve in anything. What else has there been? Black Widow was also kind of eh. I don't know why, but it just didn't feel great. But unfortunately, I think Black Widow is one of those Avengers that kind of... It's awesome having her in the Avengers, but without the Avengers, she kind of becomes way less interesting. I guess probably because she didn't get her movie until after, so she didn't have the build-up. Like, Captain America kind of, as a character, stood on its own. The Hulk, not so much. The Hulk movie is bad. The original one, I mean. Well, not bad, but just sort of meh. Technically the first MCU movie, right? I think? Or did that come out after Iron Man? I think it was before Iron Man, like by 2 years. Thor, I thought, would be one that I wouldn't give a shit about, especially because his first 2 movies were kind of but fucking, like, the transition of that character, holy fuck. Ragnarok and through Infinity War and Endgame. I didn't think I would give a fuck about Thor at all. Kind of ended up becoming one of my favorite characters. Blade? They count Hulk, which I think came out in 2008? Something like that. It was 2 years before Iron Man, if I remember correctly, and it is included in the MCU chronology. But a lot of it was the vibe that those characters had together. The interplay between Iron Man and Hulk and Thor and Black Widow and Captain America. Oh, and fucking Hawkeye. Hawkeye is probably the most forgettable Avenger. I forget him always because he fucking is just a dude. He's just a dude. I'm sorry, Hawkeye fan. And he's got a thing coming, and I've watched the trailer for it, and I just... He's just a dude. I can totally see how he would be interesting, and he was fine, but he's... Even in the Avengers, he was kind of like not the character you think of. He feels more like a prop than a character. He's often not involved in the big events that go down. Like, because there's sort of the most important characters that are usually involved in things, right? Like Black Widow was pretty important and involved directly in a lot of things. Iron Man, obviously, he was like the main character of the Avengers, sort of sharing that with Captain America. And Hulk and Thor obviously had some big like side story stuff and were directly involved in some important plot points. But Hawkeye was always just sort of a prop, you know? Like they needed him to be like a pivot for certain things, like when he gets taken over by Loki. Well, what else important shit was he involved in? When he has his Spider-Man 3 emo moments. What did he do? The Soul Stone. He was there. He was pretty involved in that. You see what I'm saying though, right? Like it's really hard to think of really big important things that he had anything to do with. There's a couple, but like nothing compared to the other 5 or however many. There's 6 Avengers, right? I think so. I'm probably fucking forgetting something again. Like, when I'm thinking of characters, in terms of important characters or interesting characters related to Avengers, there's so many other ones that I would put above Hawkeye. Like, what's his fuck? What's his name? Nick Fury? Way bigger deal. Ant-Man, maybe? You know, people shit on Ant-Man. I love Ant-Man's story through everything into Endgame. He's so good. And also, Paul Rudd is kind of a treasure.
Yes,
and he had some of the
I am
best
the Lord.
lines.
I see a little
and the
silhouette
best
of a rim.
moments.
Got some bugs. Got some bugs. Will the colony survive?
His whole story with his family is really, at times, like heartwarming and bittersweet and silly sometimes. When he comes back, that was kind of amazing. That was an amazing little scene that really tugged at the heart. But he has one of my favorite lines of all the like goofy funny stuff, where he's being he's the guinea pig for the Hulk trying to work out time travel. And he comes back that one time and he goes, I think somebody peed my pants. Just a really good line. And Paul Rudd's kind of perfect for delivering that sort of stuff. So, I didn't mean to turn this into like a let's shit on Hawkeye club. I just felt like he just fades into the background. I have to say that Deadpool didn't really do it for me. The first one I kind of liked it. And I like whatever the fuck his name is. Ryan. Like, he's a very funny guy, very naturally funny guy. But it does start to get a little fucking, like, jerking himself off at times. A bit too much. And I felt like it went over the edge with Deadpool 2. To where I just wasn't really enjoying it anymore. I feel like Deadpool's another example of like, I think X-Men kind of just sucks. It's weird because I was a big fan of the X-Men when I was a kid. It was kind of they were in their hot comics run at that time. So X-Men was pretty popular. And but then the movies, I didn't really, I don't know, I didn't love them. And then the way that the X-Men are handled in like Deadpool is like a fucking joke. It just makes me feel like Marvel doesn't give a shit about X-Men at all. That's probably a good way of putting it, Nee, I think. Now, I didn't watch Logan, or I don't know how much spin-off Wolverine stuff there is. But Logan is supposed to be like the best of anything that had anything to do with X-Men. And it's just Logan. Yeah, and I think both of those things were like going out of fashion as well, right? The sort of 90s angst, directionless angst stuff wore off of everybody. So anything that kind of had that stank upon it started to feel real extreme energy drinky. It started to feel like extreme snacks. And then 2000s had that sort of, I don't even know what. When I think of the 2000s, I think of Uncanny Valley, smooth and shiny CG. Does that describe the 2000s? I'm not sure. It feels kind of right. What movies was David Hayter involved in? Because I know that one of his claims to fame was that he says he wrote the X-Men movies. I'm not sure what one, though, or if it was all of them. If you don't know who David Hayter is, that's Solid Snake. The voice actor that got fired, replaced by Kiefer Sutherland. Metal Gear. Yeah, when they made Metal Gear Solid 5, for some reason, they they got rid of the guy who'd been playing Solid Snake from the original game. Well, from the original Metal Gear Solid game, and hired Kiefer Sutherland. And I don't know why. Hideo is kind of a simp for Hollywood, but he also, it's a weird move in my opinion, even for Hideo, because he has that artistic what do you call it when everybody was yelling at about him sucking? What do they call, what's that A word for, it's not asshole before you say that. Auteur, auteur, I don't know. Is that how you say it? It's not a word I use ever. Asshat. Where I would imagine that he would, wow, Veritrix. Yeesh. Um, where I would have expected him to stick with what he had established from an artistic point of view. Because I feel like changing a voice actor, especially after you're like however many, 6 games, 7 games in, or however many, like including the side things, that's it's a wild move to do when you've got such an established, like, mainstream known character kind of thing. But he did it, so I'm obviously wrong. It's whatever, I guess. Lynn, did I fucking thank you for 57 months? I'm sorry. I've been on like a conversational tear. And I think I blew past that. Thank you for 57 months. I'm sorry. Most people are. Yeah, the politics of X-Men was always interesting, but I I would say
Yes, I am the Lord.
even
I
younger
still
me.
can't find that Mystic unsub button.
Well, thank you, ZK. Please never find it. Thank you for also 57 months. Yeah, there was a lot of Spider-Man and X-Men overlap, and I mean, Spider-Man's kind of a mutant. One of the big things back then was all the hype around Spider-Man versus Wolverine. Wolverine was, I think, really the hot X-Man that most people liked. Because, you know, he kind of was the perfect vibe for the time period. Like, he was this dark, angry dude. And Spider-Man was, I think, kind of going through a hot moment, too. Well, so, yeah, like, even younger me, I felt like... that it just came off one-dimensional after a while, because it's the same song and dance over and over again. Like, it just gets used too much. Like, how many different times do they have the same story of new young mutant being thrown out by their parents for being a mutant? And also, reminder, everyone in the world who isn't a mutant hates mutants. It just sort of gets old pretty quickly, in my opinion, because it's too flat. It's too samey. Oh yeah, Venom. That's why. Yeah, Venom was new around that time, and Venom was a big deal. I remember picking up those issues. I was not a Spider-Man reader, but I got the wind of the Venom story thing, and I hopped in at that time. I still remember pretty clearly a lot of the frames, like Eddie Brock working out in his apartment, just grinding his teeth. And the weird interactions between Spider-Man and Venom leading into that. That's the most interesting stuff, I thought. I never watched Spider-Man 3, but wasn't Spider-Man 3, didn't it touch into that stuff? I don't remember. All I remember is the memes about emo Spider-Man. I don't think I actually watched the movie. I remember Spider-Man 2 was like like everybody loved Spider-Man 2. Right? Yeah, it's, you know, to be honest, the fact that Marvel was able to take Captain America and make him work again is, I think, crazy. Not just make him work, but make him likable. Because if there was ever a character before the MCU that I would have thought like, ugh, I don't care, it would be him, and ended up being just crazy good. Yeah, I was not an avid comic reader at the time, so maybe they kept Captain America relevant all the way through up until the MCU started. I don't know. Yeah, I think that they didn't really have any choice with Captain America but to lean into idealism, an idealism that doesn't exist in reality. It's the idea of a virtuous America in person form where the ideals actually are real and followed. But no matter how much you do that, you can't escape like the dark reality. That's the thing, is like you can't, no matter how much patriotism you layer on top, and even if you matched all those virtuous ideals perfectly, everyone in lockstep, you can't change the past. Well, I wouldn't know because I didn't read the comics, but I felt like I feel like they went interesting places with it, especially when there were a lot of times where the character was put in a position to where he had to question his ideals. And I think that was pretty well done in the MCU, but I don't know how it was done in the comics. Maybe it was done, I mean, I'm sure it was probably done to more detail because comics have that luxury of being able to really immerse into a concept and chew it up. Whereas movies kind of have to compress everything into, even with the MCU where they had all those movies to work with, it's still a compressed format. I think the fact that Iron Man is the one who ends up being like trying to play by the rules and Captain America is the one that goes rogue was the most interesting dichotomy of that, at least in the movies. Because you would think that Captain America would be the law abiding, follow all the rules kind of guy, and Iron Man would be the, so it kind of pits them against their own personalities, basically, right? Because Iron Man's kind of the bad boy. Blah, 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 blah. Night, Chloe. We are nerds. Good night, Emerlin. Yeah, in the movies, I felt like Ultron was definitely one of the weaker Avengers movies. It was watchable. It's fun to watch. It didn't feel like it had as much of the vibe. But it set up some of my favorite things, like Ragnarok, which was great. And I think that was the setup for Civil War and, you know, other things. So I liked a lot of that. Spider-Man's pretty good, but I don't know. Really, you liked X-Men that much? You're not talking about movies. You're talking about everything. Or not just movies, I mean. Yeah, Tom is great as Spider-Man for sure. I would imagine by OGQ he's referring to the Sam Raimi movies. What blows my mind is that there were movies between Sam Raimi and fucking the MCU ones. Like, I had no fucking idea. And like it's crazy that they get so much out of fucking Spider-Man. That they think they can make so many fucking movies. It's crazy. Like, how fucking popular is Spider-Man? I thought that was confirmed not happening. The multiverse. In my opinion, I think I saw people were like fucking super hyped about this idea, but in my mind, I'm thinking like, why? Because that's really weird to bring other actors in who've played Spider-Man, because they played Spider-Man. They didn't play alternate universe Spider-Man. You know? Do you get what I'm like saying? It's like a multiverse of actors, not, I don't know. It just seems odd to me because there's like nothing about them in particular that's like special, other than having starred as Spider-Man. But I guess it is conveniently like they're familiar faces, I guess. So it'll make people go, "Oh my god!" I don't know what you mean by that, Torn. I know that's the name of the next movie, but I mean, is it like an anagram? Like if you move the letters around, does it say like Toby Maguire and Garfield will also be in this movie with Tom Holland? Is that? Oh, there's a trailer. Oh, you didn't say trailer. You meant to say trailer, huh? Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, dude. Chadwick was fucking like, I didn't know anything about Black Panther at all, and he instantly got me invested in that character. Like, he was pretty much perfect, and that was really sad. Just a really, really solid actor. Oh, wait. I think I saw this trailer, though. I'm not sure it confirms anything. I mean, maybe I saw a teaser. I mean, confirmed for me, it's like off-screen deaths. Nothing's confirmed unless it happens on screen. And in my mind, well, yeah, but those are characters from Spider-Man. It's not like those are characters from the first Spider-Man movies. They're going to be there. I mean, Doc Ock was also in fucking Multiverse. And the cartoon show. Maybe it's cartoon Doc Ock by this logic. Benedict is an amazing Doctor Strange, yeah. Okay. Well, I'm not saying it's not happening. I'm just saying I guess I have a different standard for confirmed. Especially with MCU, because they just always fuck around with you. I don't know. To me, confirmed means explicit. Sorry. It's just how I am. Oh, well, if you had said that, that's totally different. If they've said these will be the same actors, you should open with that. Not open with the teaser with some character you can kind of hear and kind of see. Confirms it. Open with, they wrote the words, these are the same actors. Then I will be like, yes, I agree then. You make a great case. Yeah, dude. Miles is super great. That movie really blew me away beyond even what like expectations were set by people. Well, I went to it just because all of my artist friends were like nonstop coming about it. I was like, well, I have to see this because art, art, art. And, but I didn't expect to care very much about the story or whatever. Like, I'm not very invested in comics unless it's like the MCU had to reel me in, you know? It had to set things up and get me invested. But Spider-Verse was going to be like this standalone story, so I was like, I don't know if I'm going to care about this. Turned out I cared about it because it was really fucking well done. Ugh, now Batman. I'm super done with Batman. I just super don't care. I used to kind of like Batman. I liked the original '80s movies by Tim Burton, and then didn't really care for the dumb Batman and nipples Batman. And then I liked Batman Begins, but then I started to drift out of it again. There's just, for me, there's, I guess I have a low tolerance for stuff getting run into the ground. Like if I'm gonna spend my time on a thing, I guess at this point I'm at the point where it's like it needs to be that unusually standout thing. You know what I mean? I have trouble getting invested in things to a point where I'm like I care about all the stuff. At this point, I just care about like, is this the super really great standout thing that like only comes once in a while? I'll take it. Batman Begins was kind of that at the time that it came out. I never got into Batman Beyond. I liked Batman the Animated Series. Well, I think I didn't get into it just because I wasn't that invested in Batman to start with. I often think about my experience with the Ninja Turtles, for instance, which was sort of a coming of age content enjoyment thing where I was like growing up as I was taking in this content. And Turtles had that unique thing where it straddled sort of both sides, because what got me into it was the kid stuff, but what carried me out of it was the actual comics, which were way different. The Turtles was actually a really good comic because it was this weird martial arts dystopia thing that was not limited to just New York. Like, it goes to space, it goes to other dimensions. There's some crazy shit in the Turtles. And it's much darker and grittier and stuff. Like, it's weird that there's the kid version and the adult version, but that's how it is. And once I got into the regular comics, then obviously I was like, well, I can't watch the cartoon anymore. Like, my mind has been opened. And then the video games kind of straddled both of those. Particularly like Turtles in Time. I always loved recognizing things in Turtles Through Time or whatever, Turtles in Time, that were actually only in the comics. A lot of that stuff never actually happened in the cartoon. A lot of characters that weren't in the cartoon until the later cartoons. Yeah, they couldn't say ninja. They're called like Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles in the UK. Saf is paralyzed for another 11 days. Paralytic abasia. But once that wears off, then they'll be good as new, I guess. But for now, they can't move. In fact, I almost feel like Turtles in Time kind of hits exactly the right vibe. You know, there's something about it. It's that video gaminess. It's not too much the cartoon, but it's not completely off the edge dark like the comics. It's somewhere between. It's real good. But that might be my love of video games biasing my view there. Those things all intertwined for me at the time. Yeah, there was a bit of a gold rush that was kicked off by the Ninja Turtles because they were insanely popular at the time. So there were a lot of knockoff type deals. I think there were some crossover things. remembering something like a samurai rabbit, Usagi or something. Does this sound familiar to anybody? It might have been like another Image comic that they like did a crossover or something or overlapped. Yeah, Power Rangers. Power Rangers was fighting for the throne, but what really killed the Turtles was Pokemon. Pokemon came along and murdered everything. It absolutely destroyed. It was like a fucking tsunami. Killed the Turtles, killed Power Rangers. And very unfortunately for me, it was right at that time when I was making my sort of journey into adolescence, and I was like, oh god, this Pokemon is for babies. I remember watching some episodes, trying to, and just being like, meh, this is tiny baby stuff. And I missed out on the biggest RPG franchise ever. Actually, I think Pokemon is still the biggest franchise of anything ever. Nothing was as successful as Pokemon. And probably won't ever be for maybe forever, because there won't not a whole lot of time left to to start wheeling out the big Pokemon killer. Or maybe from adolescence into teenagery. I don't even know. Young adulthood. I did get into anime around that time. But like Dragon Ball, Akira. And I was very much headed into more adult-focused content, so I attribute that as being the biggest factor as to why I missed on the whole Pokemon boat. Yeah, Toonami. We were exchanging VHS tapes back then. Ghost in the Shell was a big one at the time. For me, it was like an art renaissance situation, because I was like, whoa, this stuff is like really fucking out there, and was going through this whole thing of like, man, we don't make any animation like this. We don't make animation about like serious topics in the States.
Yes, I am the Lord.
I am experiencing an interesting number drought. What do people even do when they get past 69 and there's like 242 more numbers until the next funny one?
I know. You gotta hang in. Mischief, thank you for 78 months. Very much appreciated. I'm trying to think of other early anime that I got into. I got a little too into Tenchi Muyo. I liked it a little too much. I don't think I could even watch it now. It would be too cringe. But I got into a lot of the movies. I watched all kinds of movies, like the fucking... What's that shit? Trigun. I loved Trigun. No, I was anti-Avatar for a long time. And I don't know if I even want to explain it, because everybody just gets mad. I watched it a couple years ago, and watched it all the way through, and I liked it. Avatar's good. Originally, I thought it was baby stuff for babies, so I didn't watch it. And this is unrelated to internet bullshit, whatever, so don't get all mad at me. But I felt like it felt to me like Nickelodeon trying to get on the anime bandwagon by approximating anime. Now, I formulated that on my own. It wasn't injected into me by the internet. And I have changed my feelings on it since then. Especially knowing the more about like the creators of it and so on. But surface level, it felt like a cash grab type of thing to me, and that biased me against it for a long time. There are people who hold that opinion who have different, shittier reasons for doing so, or for holding such an opinion. That ain't me. And I'm over it anyway. I've not watched Korra because when we got to the end of Avatar, whose main advocate was Nakomi, I turned to her and I go, all right, time for Korra. And she viciously shook her head. Yes, I am the Lord.
And I was like, okay. Din Zero. Thank you for that gift sub. Well, I don't really know or have an opinion on Korra because I haven't watched it. But Nakomi was my watching partner, and she very much cautioned me against it. So I took her word for it. There was a French cartoon that I had weird, distant, dreamlike memories about. And it turned out it was just a fucking dreamlike show. But it was that Little Prince thing. There were a lot of fucking surreal cartoons that they had on when I was a kid. Before, like,
Cartoon Network swept in and really got their shit together. There was decent like Saturday morning cartoon content. It's not like there was nothing, but man, there was some weird mind-bending shit that they used to put on. Little Prince was one of them. And for those of you who don't know by name, I'm not even sure that's the name. I think it is. It's about a fucking little boy who rides around on a like tiny planet with a rose in a glass bell. And just does nothing. I don't really... it's hard to describe, but it fucking... It was weird. I loved Courage. Courage Calorie Dog was awesome. One of my earliest sub alert sounds was me quoting that one, the fucking, what was it? The cousin or nephew or whatever, the one that had something with getting his hair cut. What did he say? It was something about being, yeah, I'm feeling naughty. Return the slab. Yeah, Courage is fantastic. It was weird, but it was meant to be weird. I'm talking about stuff that was weird for no fucking good reason. I don't even know. Okay, so I'm remembering one. Do any of you remember this? This guy... They kind of look like Farside, style-wise. I've brought this up before, I know I have, so maybe some of you know where I'm going. But they were these short cartoons that didn't really, I don't think, have much of a point. Like, there's this guy sitting in a house, he's sitting at a table, he has an egg in an egg cup, and he has a spoon. And he hits the egg cracks, and his house cracks. And he keeps hitting the egg until his house collapses. And I don't remember the rest of it, but it was like weird nightmare fuel stuff. Because it was like bland other than what I've described for you. He's just like in a box. Like I said house, it's just like, he's just like in a box. Someone else has seen this. It's the same, okay, I think it's the same, or by the same people who also made that fucking The Cat Came Back cartoon. Does anybody fucking remember The Goddamn Cat Came Back? And the cat came back the very next day. It's like a horrible, awful cartoon. Where this guy keeps trying to get rid of a cat, and he just keeps being more and more mean to the cat. Until they, like, both die. Yeah, it's the same fucking people, and that shit just gave me nightmares, man. And I saw that stupid fucking song in my head for my whole life. My whole life. It came back the very next day. Ugh. Yes, I am the Lord. Nedry, thank you for that gift sub. Appreciate it. Trying to think of other ones that are like kind of dreamlike for me. Oh, so an interesting thing for me about my journey into anime was realizing the random anime I had seen without knowing that it was anime. One of which was like these people with bird helmets. Sort of, they're not bird helmets. They were like kind of bird-like spacesuit designs. And no, I know, I see it. I see you found it, and I hate that you found it. I don't even want to look at it. I'm gonna look at it, but I don't want to. It's gonna give me new nightmares. no. Yeah, this is the thing. God, why? Why did they show this to children? It's so horrible. It's just horrible. The whole point of it is to be horrible. There's nothing good about it. Gotcha, man. I don't remember what it was called. They had kind of beak shaped. So they had see-through visors that were kind of beak shaped, and they had. It was kind of like a wannabe Voltron. They had spaceships that could form together into one. I think the name was something to do with a hawk or falcon, something. It may have had an Americanized name, because they did that a lot. They would just take an anime, slap a name on it, and then just show it. Just to fill time. Another one that I had watched that I didn't realize was, I think, anime, was that one with the flying... I think it was a Bible show. It had a flying farm or something like that, or a flying windmill. Hold on, I'm looking. Oh, yeah, you got it. I didn't know it was called Gatchaman. Did it have an American name? I'm talking about things that are so far back in my memory, BFA, that they're like foggy, hard to, like, intangible memories. So no, not things from the past 20, 30 years. This would have been made in like the 70s, maybe early 80s. I think it was like a time-traveling lighthouse or farm. I think the whole place went traveling. It had kind of a doofy style that was more like closer to like Astro Boy. Yes, I am the Lord. Is this ringing
60
bells for
months
anybody?
ago.
It was the Bird Visor show was called Battle of the Planets. Huh, I don't remember that at all. The name, I mean. Neither Gotcha nor Battle of the Planets, but that was definitely the characters. I mean, to be honest, Time Traveling Farmhouse kind of sounds like it. Time Traveling Bible Anime. Oh no. God, this is like... That describes probably 15 currently running anime. It's impossible to search for like past anime now, because they're putting out like a new series every couple of minutes these days. 80s Superbook? That doesn't sound familiar. Oh, yep, it's Superbook. I recognize that weird, stupid guy with the hat, the robot with the hat. A mystical Bible transports children into it to relive adventures from the Testament. I don't remember much of it myself. Yeah, it's the worst isekai. I'm digging deep here. Swan Lake. Swan Lake, I didn't realize was an anime until I got into anime many, many years later. And it was this sweetly sad, I guess the word for that is bittersweet, take on Swan Lake that just... I was in love with it when I was a kid. And I was in love with the princess or whatever. Swan Lake anime. Yeah, that's literally just called Swan Lake. Just brings it right up. Still for sale. You can buy the DVD for $20. God, I bet it's awful. I bet it would be painful to watch. I don't know, maybe it's good. Eh, 1981. Here you go. Uh, doesn't appear to have been called Swan Princess, but maybe. Wikipedia isn't saying anything about it being called Swan Princess. Oh, it's called World Masterpiece Fairy Tale Swan Lake. Swan Princess, different movie. Yeah, I don't know this one. You're not going far enough back in time again. This is 1994. Swan Lake has a deep history, particularly to do with music. Kofsky. The thing is, you already know the whole soundtrack, probably. Hard to get through life without having heard those songs. Yeah, anime is running out of titles. They're using them all up. And then there's one more memory I've never been able to ever find because I just don't remember enough. I've tried describing it before and we were never able to figure it out because I just don't remember enough details. But Nickelodeon used to do this thing where in the middle of the day, I think like maybe right before or right after lunch, they would show a movie. And I know this was an anime, but I don't know what fucking one it was. Stylistically, I would say that it was possibly in a similar vein to like the style of the original Legend of Zelda. I think it was kind of like that was the style at the time. When I say that, I mean like the character art in the manual and stuff like that. I can find a decent image. Yeah. Oh shit. Let me see if this works. Not really. I just can't seem to summon up any memories of the actual content. Just what it kind of looked like. Where it's just got this really simple, quaint style. To be honest, more kind of like sketchy and simpler in some ways than even what these pictures look like in the original Legend of Zelda manual. But kind of a perfect flavor. Yeah, almost give... Yes! Augio. Very good words. Dragonite, did I thank you for 60 months? Thank you. And like little texture lines, does that make sense? Like they did this kind of like Nausicaa style. You know what I'm talking about? There would be like little extra lines to kind of give the impression of roughness, like on boots and stuff. I wish I had any other information. But I just don't. The only way I could think of to possibly find it would be to like kind of, if there's any way to find out what Nickelodeon's programming was in the 80s and try to narrow it down from there, of like when they did like special showings. Because it wasn't like an episode of a show. It was definitely like a movie. I remember it being a special thing. So I'd have to find their programming schedule from back then somehow. I don't know if that exists. Probably unlikely. Oh no. Probably a big long list, huh? Oh goodness. Oh. It's not too bad. That's not the hugest list. Let me just check a couple. Maybe we'll get lucky here, you know? You never know. Oh my god, I just want to like default browser on my laptop is Edge, and therefore default search is Bing. Because I never use my fucking laptop for browsing, so I just don't ever change it. I can't find anything for the Little Princess that looks correct. Because there's like a later movie, or an earlier movie, actually. Actually, maybe it's the Shirley Temple movie. I think it is. You know, I seem to remember them showing shit like that back then. It wouldn't have been something released in the 30s. So actually, maybe this list is not helpful. Because this is looking like it's all like black and white movies all the way up through the 90s. Eat the Devil? What the fuck? Yeah, these are all like Nick at Night content. I don't think this is the list. Well, no, actually, this jumps around because it goes back to... Holy shit, they showed The Secret of Nim on Nickelodeon. Ebus. Oh no, I was reading it wrong again. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I got confused because I mixed up the two date columns for a second. It doesn't look like it would be any of these. Unless I have the timeline wrong. But there's only a few at the beginning of the 90s. Superman and the Mole Men, the Jetsons Meet the Flintstones, The Good, the Bad, and Huckleberry Hound. And those are definitely not it. And then before that, it's all like black and white movies. All of them. So I don't think this list has it. Which means I'm barking up the wrong tree. Oh well. Maybe I'll figure it out one day. I'm pretty sure it was Nickelodeon. I'm pretty sure, because I don't think that there were a lot of other... Like, the only other channel maybe would have been Disney. Grimm's Fairy Tale Classics. Let me see. I need screenshots. To Google. This feels like it could be close to the target. But I don't know. I'm just sort of wondering now if... Like, I'm looking at screenshots, and I'm just kind of like, did I ever actually see this? In the right vein. I don't know. I don't think this is it. Not ringing a bell. Like, nothing I'm seeing here is making me go, oh yeah, I remember. Good try, though. Night, nerd. Mysterious Cities of Gold. No. No, I think this was much more stylized in the direction of, like I gave the example of The Legend of Zelda manual, right? Like the characters were not realistic like this. They were more cartoony. This doesn't look like something I've ever seen. I say realistic. I'm talking like proportions and stuff like that. Those kids obviously look like cartoons, but they are... they have realistic-ish proportions and details. Belle and Sebastian? No, absolutely not. Like, oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, not like SpongeBob characters. Okay, well, Belle and Sebastian is a girl and a dog, from what I can tell. That was a waste of a search. Oh god, The Adventures of the Little Prince is the fucking... the Little Prince thing I was talking about with that kid and his fucking rose. Oh, except it was an anime. Why did I think it was a French show? Oh, I guess that one goes on the list. Oh, I see Belle and Sebastian here. Cold snap. Sorry, I got very wrapped up in this. Oh, it's hard to find any screenshots of this Belle and Sebastian. Oh, fuck! Danger Mouse! Oh my god, I watched Danger Mouse. Eureka's Castle sounds familiar. Yeah, I don't know. Our best guess running is Grimm's Fairy Tale Classics, which looks like it's kind of a hodgepodge of stuff. So maybe there's like a short in there that has that style. Mapletown. Mapletown. Hmm. Mr. Wizard. I'm just checking this whole list because it's not that terribly long. And a lot of them are easy to eliminate as like definitely not it. But not looking good. Yeah. Nah, it doesn't seem to be here, whatever it was. GG, my friends. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you for watching and taking this little stroll down memory lane with me. If I ever figure out what the fuck that show is, I'll be sure to let you guys know. I wish I could. I wish I could remember. It's like a splinter, you know? It's like I gotta figure it out. I want to know. I know someone else has to have seen it. Not connecting the dots. Anyway, have a great night, and I'll see you all tomorrow.